And many generations of this Queens neighborhood know who she is, her story, or at least they think they know her story. She actually lived right across the street from this Jewish cemetery, which it's been filled to capacity for many of years now, since I believe like the 1940s already. There was recently a city fund to help improve it, help maintain it. That's for another story. So, she was called the Crazy Lady. And again, everyone knew of her story. It's very, and you would see her around town, because I grew up in and around this neighborhood. You see her in town, and depending on what color her house was, because she would paint her house different colors. So one time the house would be painted blue, as you see there, the house being painted blue in the pictures I uploaded. But not only was it painted blue at one point, it was painted white, it was painted gold, it was painted many colors of the rainbow, actually, and it was for a very long time. And she would change the colors. Sometimes a house would stay one color for a particular long time, and then just as quickly she would change up the color of that house as well. So it was almost like, for lack of a better word, like how, a woman would change her hair color. That's how often she would change her house. She bought the home in the 1970s. She was a New York City, a retired New York City school teacher. I think it was elementary kids. And, just to go back, you would see her around town, and, everyone would be scared to even approach her, because, like I said, depending on the color of the house, that's what she would be wearing. So if her house was color gold, guess what? She'd be wearing color gold. And it will remain consistent until she changed her house color. So if she changed the house color to blue, she'd be wearing all blue. And blue, I think it stayed blue for a longer period of time, because as she got older, she got tired of painting the house. And yes, there were times where I actually seen her painting the house and the fence. But everyone was, afraid to approach her, and the kids on Halloween over here, I remember, would just go over and try to, quote unquote, go bombing. I mean, throwing eggs at her house just to scare her and get her upset. But she was a very nice woman, believe it or not. She actually was a churchgoer. She'd go in her shopping cart, which was colored, the color of the house for that particular time. She'd carry her little poodle in that shopping cart, which was also colored the very same color that her house was. So again, if the house was the color gold, then, well, you would have a gold poodle. You've seen her, when you would see Miss Miller, that was her name, out and about, pushing her, blue shopping cart, which is she was synonymous for, all dressed in blue for the longest time there. Some say that, she would just painted her home to make sure the spirit of her dead husband wouldn't find her. Others, thought that it had something to do with a Bible verse. Miss Miller would occasionally preach about religious damnation and pass out biblical reading material to those walking past her blue house, which sits across the street from Bayside Cemetery, which is what we're looking at here. And I've seen her in church many of times in Nativity Church on Rockaway Boulevard there. A big white cross was painted on a dark gray chimney. It had an eclectic mix of wall decor that lined the mesh security grills on the windows. It had statue figurines. It had wreaths, brass bells, flower pots, other knickknacks scattered across the otherwise bare yard in front of the house. Broken fences, painted blue and yellow, surround the property back then. Sealing in a decrepit, garage that was falling apart. Gizmos and gadgets strewn just across the brush. And the backyard was covered in trash, mainly. But she was very harmless, truth be told. Very eclectic, very different, but she was harmless. Word is if you were to enter her house, you would see cloves of garlic hanging everywhere and gold crosses painted on the ceiling. This is according to someone who actually went inside the house after being invited by Miss Miller for a cup of coffee. One day had discovered that she passed away in 2009, meaning a neighborhood. A neighbor let them into her house, right? And inside of the house, reportedly, it was, exactly the way you would picture it almost, based on the stories that you heard about Miss Miller. The refrigerator that was filled with paper, it was unplugged. Mirrors with crosses drawn on them faced the wall. There was a gallon of holy water that sat on each of the staircase's steps. when he went in there, the neighbor, when he was being interviewed by the local newspaper, even he said what a lot of people felt about her, just really just misunderstood. Call her a crazy lady, because of her dog being colored weird colors, her house being colored weird colors, but in actuality, what happened to her, and I had some encounters with her along the way. Every kid growing up here did. It's just that she was really just misunderstood. What a lot of people don't know is she was an educator, loved kids, and her love for kids, had a child of her own who passed away at a young age, and her husband passed away as well. And that really just made her completely lose it. And unfortunately, she never wanted anyone's help or wanted to be as is. I will show you some pictures of the inside of the house. Hopefully I explained the story the right way, as best as I could, for a person that was really just truly misunderstood here in Queens. So when they found Miss Miller's body, badly decomposed, took it to the medical examiner, and they could not find, no one of the relatives claimed her body. And this was back in 2009, obviously, when she passed away. Not sure what happened. I know that the estate had money in it, so she should have received a proper burial. But it's just a sad story for someone that was truly misunderstood.